When we talk about courage, we often imagine loud victories and public applause. But today, I want to begin with a quieter moment, the moment a woman decides that pain will not define her future. Imagine waking up every day in fear, questioning your worth, doubting your safety, and yet still finding the strength to say, "This is not the life I deserve." The story I share today is not just about escape, it is about transformation. It is about a woman who walked out of violence and walked straight into purpose. For years, her home was not a place of comfort, but a place of survival. The walls that should have protected her echoed with fear. Like many survivors of domestic violence, she was told she was nothing without the person hurting her. She was isolated, emotionally broken, and made to believe that leaving was impossible. But here is the truth that deserves to be heard loudly: strength does not always look like fighting back. Sometimes, strength looks like quietly planning your freedom when no one believes you can. The day she left, she did not have a perfect plan or endless support. What she had was something far more powerful: clarity. She understood that staying would cost her life, her dignity, and her future. That decision, to choose safety over silence, became the turning point. And it was not easy. There were nights filled with doubt, moments of fear, and days when starting over felt heavier than staying. But every step away from violence was a step closer to healing. As she rebuilt her life, something remarkable happened. Instead of letting her trauma harden her heart, it sharpened her compassion. She saw other women carrying the same fear she once carried. She recognized the silence in their voices because it had once been her own. And that recognition sparked a mission. She didn't just want to survive, she wanted to protect others. With limited resources but unlimited determination, she worked to create a safe home, a space where survivors could breathe without fear, sleep without anxiety, and rebuild without judgment. This home was more than a building. It was a promise. A promise that abuse does not get the final word. A promise that broken does not mean finished. A promise that healing is possible. Today, that safe home stands as proof of what happens when pain is turned into purpose. Women who once believed they were trapped now walk through its doors and feel something they haven't felt in years: hope. Children who grew up witnessing violence now learn what safety feels like. And all of this exists because one woman refused to let her past silence her future. There is a powerful kind of courage that does not announce itself. It does not raise its voice or demand attention. It lives quietly inside a woman who has been told, again and again, that her pain does not matter. In her world, silence was not a choice. It was forced upon her. Yet within that silence, something extraordinary was growing. While fear tried to convince her that she was weak, she was secretly becoming stronger than anyone around her realized. This is where her bravery truly began, not in a moment of escape, but in the invisible decision to believe that her life was worth saving. Every day, she studied her situation carefully. She listened more than she spoke. She observed patterns, measured risks, and learned how to survive without losing herself completely. This was not passivity. This was strategy. Many people misunderstand quiet women, mistaking their silence for surrender. But silence, in her case, was preparation. While the world saw a woman enduring, inside she was planning freedom. And that planning required immense courage, because hope can be dangerous when it grows in hostile places. There were moments when doubt tried to win. Moments when fear whispered that leaving would only make things worse, that she was alone, that no one would help her. But even then, a small voice inside her kept asking a brave question: what if life could be different? That question became her anchor. She did not need certainty. She needed belief. Belief that pain was not her destiny, and that survival did not have to be her permanent role. Choosing herself did not happen in one dramatic moment. It happened in small, courageous steps, saving a little money, memorizing phone numbers, watching the door, waiting for the right time. Each step was an act of resistance. Each quiet decision was a refusal to disappear. And this is where her strength becomes undeniable. She proved that courage does not always roar. Sometimes courage whispers, "Not today, not forever." When she finally stood up to leave, she carried no applause with her, only fear and determination walking side by side. But that was enough. Because real bravery is not about being fearless. It is about moving forward while fear watches. Her silent courage reminds us of a powerful truth. Women do not need permission to be brave. Even in silence, even in the shadows, a woman can choose herself and begin to change everything. Survival is often misunderstood as the finish line, but for a brave woman, survival is only the beginning. When she stepped away from abuse, she did not suddenly step into comfort or certainty. She stepped into the unknown. There were no guarantees waiting for her, no clear path marked out ahead. What she carried with her was exhaustion, fear, and a deep emotional weight, but also a quiet determination that refused to let her fall back. This is where her strength began to take shape, not in safety, but in struggle. The early days of rebuilding tested her in ways she never expected. Simple decisions felt overwhelming because her confidence had been slowly dismantled over years of control and fear. She had to relearn how to trust her instincts, how to speak without apologizing, how to exist without constantly explaining herself. Each small victory, finding work, securing shelter, creating routines, became proof that she was capable. Strength did not arrive all at once. It grew through repetition, persistence, and resilience. There were setbacks, and they mattered. Some days, memories resurfaced without warning. Some nights, fear returned uninvited. But instead of seeing these moments as failure, she learned to see them as part of healing. This shift in mindset was powerful. She understood that strength is not about never breaking down. It is about standing back up with greater self-awareness. Her survival sharpened her resilience, teaching her that pain could exist alongside progress. What makes her journey extraordinary is that she did not let survival shrink her world. She expanded it. She sought education, support, and purpose, refusing to remain defined by what she escaped. With each step forward, she reclaimed pieces of herself that had been taken, her voice, her ambition, her self-respect. She transformed survival into momentum, turning "I made it out" into "I am moving forward." As a stories expert, I can tell you this: strength born from survival carries a rare depth. It is disciplined, grounded, and unshakable. She became a woman who understands struggle without being controlled by it, a woman who walks differently because she knows what it took to stand upright again. Her story reminds us that surviving hardship is not the end of bravery. It is the foundation upon which a powerful, self-directed life is built. Trauma has a way of leaving marks that are invisible to the world, but heavy to carry. For many, those marks become walls, barriers that limit trust, joy, and possibility. But for this brave woman, something different happened. As she healed, she began to recognize that her pain had given her a rare kind of insight. She understood fear not as a concept, but as a lived experience. She understood silence, shame, and isolation because she had once lived inside them. And instead of turning away from that past, she chose to face it and transform it into something meaningful. There was a moment when she realized that her story was not only about her survival. She noticed how other women flinched at raised voices, how they minimized their own pain, how they carried the same guarded expressions she once did. That recognition created a powerful connection. It was no longer just empathy, it was understanding. She knew that healing becomes stronger when it is shared, and that knowledge quietly reshaped her direction. What once hurt her now guided her. Turning trauma into purpose required courage of a different kind. It meant revisiting painful memories, not to relive them, but to learn from them. It meant speaking about experiences she had once been forced to hide. Each time she shared her truth, she reclaimed a little more power. Each time she listened to another survivor, she confirmed that her pain was not meaningless. Purpose grew where shame once lived, and that transformation was deliberate and brave. What made her impact profound was the way she showed up, not as a rescuer, but as a witness. She did not speak down to other survivors or offer empty motivation. She offered presence, validation, and practical support. She understood that real healing happens when women feel seen, not judged. By using her past as a bridge instead of a burden, she created spaces where honesty could exist safely. As a stories expert, I have seen many narratives of suffering, but the most powerful ones are shaped by women who choose meaning over bitterness. Her journey reminds us that trauma does not have to be the end of the story. When a woman dares to transform her wounds into purpose, she does more than heal herself. She lights a path for others who are still searching for the courage to step forward. There is a powerful difference between escaping danger and creating safety. For this brave woman, healing was never meant to stop with her own freedom. As she rebuilt her life, she carried a clear memory of what fear felt like inside a place that was supposed to be home. That memory became her motivation. She understood that many survivors do not just need encouragement, they need a door that opens, a light that stays on, and a space where fear has no authority. And so, she set out to build safety where fear once lived. Creating a safe home was not easy or immediate. It required persistence, resources, and relentless belief. There were obstacles that tested her resolve: limited funding, skepticism, and the emotional weight of hearing painful stories every day. But she moved forward with purpose, knowing that even one safe night could change a life. Every detail mattered, from the quiet of the rooms to the respect built into the rules. This was not a shelter defined by desperation. It was a space designed for dignity. What made this home different was the environment she cultivated. Women were not treated as victims, but as individuals with strength and potential. They were given privacy, support, and time to heal at their own pace. Children were given stability, laughter, and the chance to feel safe again. In this home, fear was replaced with routine, trust, and choice. And for many, that was the first step toward reclaiming control over their lives. As a stories expert, I have seen how powerful safe spaces can be. They do more than protect bodies, they rebuild confidence. In this home, women began to speak freely, plan their futures, and imagine lives beyond survival. They learned that safety is not a luxury, it is a right. And that realization alone can reshape a person's entire sense of self. By building a place rooted in compassion and structure, she created more than a refuge. She created proof that when women support women, healing multiplies. Her work reminds us that bravery is not only about leaving harm behind, but about building something better in its place. Through her vision, fear lost its power and safety became the foundation for countless new beginnings. As I close, let me say this clearly: bravery is not the absence of fear. It is the decision to move forward despite it. This story reminds us that when one woman finds her voice, she creates space for others to find theirs too. If you are listening today and you feel trapped, know this: your story is not over. And if you are in a position to support survivors, remember that your belief, your help, and your voice can help build safe homes, safe futures, and stronger generations. This is the power of a brave woman who chose healing and then chose to share it with the world.